Yo, what is good, guys? This is going to be a little bit of a different video. I'm going to start transitioning into different kind of videos to make on this channel. So if you guys have any recommendation, please leave it in the comment section and I will look over those. Anyways, today, this video, I'm going over what do I look for in a trade setup. So what am I doing prior to the session open? What am I doing during session? What am I looking for? And what are the confluences I need in order for me to take a trade? Now, I am going to say I will be cherry picking these trades. I'm going to be using trades that I've actually taken wins on, and then I can kind of go over those trades and show you what the analysis was and just what I look for in a trade setup. But the confluences that I look for are liquidity sweeps, breaks of structures, fair value gaps, and order blocks, and that's it. I keep it very simple. I have learned all the other concepts like a breaker block and a vacuum block and all those, but I find sticking to these four concepts of liquidity sweep, breaker structure, fair value gap, and order block just keeps it very simple and very easy, and so I'm not mix matching my biases, and I'm taking the trades based off of what I am seeing in the current market. Now, obviously all these other concepts work, but I just found that when I added more confluences in and more PD arrays in, my brain kind of got scattered, and I would kind of be like, oh, but it could be on this side of the market, it could be on this side of the market. I couldn't make up my mind. So those are the four that I look for. Keeps it simple, keeps it very easy, but let's get into a couple of these trade ideas here. If you guys haven't already, please feel free to join my Discord here. It's 100% free. And what I do in this Discord is I'm sharing my analysis. Now, I'm not saying that you guys need to take these trades. I'm not saying that you guys should take these trades as signals. But what I do is I'm sharing my analysis so that people can get either learn, see what I'm doing and learn from me, or they can share their trading concepts and we can go over and review trades. Eventually, I want to start live trading in here and just kind of get a community going of traders wanting to trade together, or just in general, just kind of live trade and chat with you guys. So if that's something that you're interested in, link will be in the bio for that free Discord. But let's get into the charts. All right, guys, so I'm in my trading journal right now on for February, and we're gonna go to February 6th here on the charts. Let's go to Euro USD. Mainly what I'm looking for is like, where is price going based on the drawn liquidity? What has been swept out? What hasn't been taken out? What is most likely to be taken out, or what is most likely to be respected? So basically, I was looking at the daily. We had these relative equal lows here. You could see that we were in a trending down market. So that just made me think that price has more momentum to go to the downside, as there is liquidity being built up right there. So when we come down to the hourly time frame, there was a couple ideas that I'm looking for. So just like once I start, I'm looking I want to see a higher time frame sweep of liquidity. So what can we see here? Well, there's liquidity right above here. So we could be taking that out, which we did. And then we have a 1 hour fair value gap right here. And if that's not what I see, then I would maybe want to see us come up to this order block up here. So those are kind of some areas of interest that I would like price to come up to. And obviously on the 15-minute time frame, kind of seeing the same thing. Tapped into fair value gap, swept liquidity, and we're making a push to the downside. Basically, now I'll go like down to the 5-minute. I'm just going to kind of look to see what are we respecting, what are we disrespecting on the lower time frame. Well, I can clearly see that we respected this fair value gap here. I can see that we respected this baby fair value gap right here. So now I'm looking at what didn't get respected. Well, you can obviously see that this fair value gap here just got blown right through. So that gives me more of a confluence that price may want to push more to the downside. We have the higher time frame liquidity being swept out. We are tapped into a higher time frame PD array. Now it's just a matter of where is the liquidity and what's being respected on the lower time frames to then find my entry. So looking here, my thought process coming into this would be, all right, so we have this line here and we have this 50% line. I'd like to get into a trade above this 50% line of the 15-minute range there. So what I'd be interested in is price maybe coming back up, sweeping out this high here, or coming back up into this fair value gap, or even hitting the 5-minute order block to then take a trade to the downside. So So as you can see, we tapped right into that 5-minute fair value gap. So this is where my interest would get sparked of finding my entry. Now my entry is mainly a 1-minute break of structure with a fair value gap entry, and that's pretty much it. Now I do look at the 3-minute and the 5-minute to see if they're breaking structure or to see if they're coming close to breaking structure, and that will give me more confluence to enter the trade. But my main entry is the 1-minute break of structure with the fair value gap entry. So coming over onto here, we're tapped into this 5-minute fair value gap. Now all I'm looking for is that entry point. So you can see here, we broke structure to the downside, right here. Broke structure actually twice to the downside. And if I go to the 3-minute time frame, we're just shy of breaking structure. So in this case here, I'm interested in going short. So what I did was I put my short position right at the fair value gap here. Take profit will be above the high, or if there's a fair value gap, you put it right above that 5-minute fair value gap. And then you target the next draws on liquidity. So that'd be like here, here. But I go 1-to-1. Most of the time I'll do 1-to-1 for my first take profit target, and then a 1-to-2 for my second take profit target. Right at 1-to-1, I will move stop to break even so that it's a risk-free trade, and then I'll go and just wait till 1-to-2. As soon as 1-to-2 hits, I'm out of the trade. I find that this strategy has more of an accuracy with 1-to-2s than 1-to-3s or 1-to-4s. So I just like to keep it pretty plain and simple and just stick to it 1-to-2. Gives me maneuver of if I take a win, then I need 2 losses to get back to break even. So that's why I do 1-to-2. But anyways, that's kind of a trade breakdown here. And then I'll show you it came back up, tapped us in, and then price tanks down to TP2. So that's just one trade idea. Let's go into another one where I'll break down. And this was just the other day. So this will be on the 8th here. All right, so now we're on the 8th. So what do I see on here? So we still have these relative equal lows on the daily time frame, which makes me think that there's a lot of liquidity built under there on the higher time frame especially. So price will want to draw back down to that area at some point. So that makes my overall bias more bearish overall. Coming into the trading hours, I saw that we took out this high here, and then we have this high right here. And above that high, we have a 4-hour fair value gap. So that's a main area of interest. But now that we have taken out this high, I can look for a lower time frame. I can look for a lower time frame confluence to potentially make a trade to the downside. Because if you look here, we swept out this high, and now we tapped into this 1-hour fair value gap. So we have a higher time frame sweep and a higher time frame fair value gap that we've tapped into. So that's an indication to me that price wants to go lower. So coming down to the 15-minute time frame, a lot of people are going to think, well, this is a sweep of liquidity here, which it could be a sweep of liquidity, but it's a lower time frame sweep of liquidity versus the overall higher time frame sweep of liquidity. Coming into the session open, what do I see? Well, I see that we did take out this high right here. So we have another sweep of liquidity now on the 15-minute, and we made a push lower. What I can see here is that we have this fair value gap right here on the 15-minute time frame. So I want price to come down, come up, hit this 15-minute fair value gap, and then we'll look for a trade to the downside. So as soon as we filled this fair value gap here, and I see that it was a 5-minute fair value gap here as well, and we actually didn't fill the whole thing, we didn't go through it, I wanted to see a market structure shift with a fair value gap on the 1-minute, just like my normal entry. So all I did was I sat here and I waited, and we didn't get a full break there. So now that we got a break of structure, I set my limit there, put my stop above the high here, 5-pip stop loss, and then we go for that basic 1-to-2, 1-to-1 stop to break even. So we got tapped in right away, and then price just ran out our take profit. So that's all I look for when it comes to a trade. Like I said, higher time frame liquidity, what's being respected, what's being disrespected, looking for order blocks, looking for fair value gaps that are being respected, and just kind of find the overall draw on liquidity to where price is going to go, and then enter on a lower time frame towards that draw on liquidity. Anyways, that's the end of this video. If you guys like this type of video, please hit that subscribe button and hit the like button. Comment down below if there's anything else you guys want to see from me, and I will see you in the next one.